Irish guy. And yes, Manchester United are rubbish right now, but so? Is this a surprise? This shouldn't be a shock. This has been the norm since 2013. Is this the longest a big, huge club has been stuck in a rut for? I'll touch on that later in the video. But lads, it's been 11 and a half years of Manchester United season ticket holders sitting in their damp seats, munching on their halftime popcorn, feeling like they've just been given front row seats to see their grandparents eating cookies on the toilet. People are losing their minds and freaking out because Manchester United have just lost 3-0 at home to Spurs. With everyone pretending like we didn't already witness this exact result in 2018, pretending like we haven't already seen Tottenham leave this ground having scored 6. Was that just a dream? I'm sorry, but this is a bit like some 53-year-old mum Karen writing a letter of complaint to HBO because she witnessed somebody getting decapitated in season 4 of Game of Thrones. Yeah, as you're not being paying attention, that had been the norm all the way through. It would be like me whacking on a Lady Gaga CD and then getting enraged when every song sounds like a cat getting mauled by an XL bully. Yeah, I should have known what to expect. It's Lady Gaga! A few weeks ago, Manchester United lost away at Brighton, and people responded to that defeat as if it was some shocking event, like they just witnessed the king licking poo off the bathroom walls in Burger King. No, that was the 7th time I have seen Manchester United get beat by the Seagulls in 2018. One of those defeats was 4-0. Yes, Manchester United lost by 3 goals at home to Liverpool. Yeah, not only have we seen that exact same scoreline in this fixture before 10 years ago, but we've also seen the Reds leave Old Trafford having scored 5. We've also seen them beat Ten Hag's side by 7 only last year. Lads, I used to be shocked seeing Manchester lose to teams they shouldn't have. Back in September 2013, yeah, them losing at home to West Brom, that was something nobody had witnessed since 1978 or December 2013 when both Everton and Newcastle left Old Trafford with wins. Both the Toffees and the Magpies had to wait a combined 62 years to win at that ground. You get less time in prison for eating your own twin. They would soon lose to Stoke for the first time in over 20 years, and before the season was out, Sunderland would have stolen their first victory at Old Trafford since 1968. Back then, during the David Moyes era, I remember being regularly shocked, absolutely gobsmacked to see Manchester United lose these sort of games. But fast forward to 2024. To put this in context, Ipswich Town are the only current Premier League side who have not beaten Man United since, and that's probably due to the fact they've only met once in the League Cup in 2015. It gets worse. Since Alex Ferguson left the club, only 4 current Premier League teams have failed to win at Old Trafford since. Chelsea, Ipswich, Nottingham Forest and Brentford. And let's be real, both Nottingham Forest and Brentford were incredibly unlucky to make this list after going damn close last season. I mean, with the Bees 1-0 up at Old Trafford after 90 minutes before Scott McTominay morphs into Superman to ruin their afternoon, and Forest were 2-0 up at Old Trafford after 4 minutes of the match, and they conspired to throw it away. Nobody is scared of going to Old Trafford anymore. Whereas under Ferguson, oh yes, a trip there was like being given a safari tour of Mount Doom, or when you go to that weird dentist whose patients keep dying in his chair. But nowadays, Old Trafford holds about as much fear as Disneyland Paris. To be fair, am I the only one who'd probably be freaked out having to stand next to those costume characters? Yeah, I'm sure beneath the goofy costume is a recently released convict who is incarcerated for chewing off his mum's face. And yes, Chelsea have surprisingly failed to leave Old Trafford with a win since Fergie left, but again, they were also mightily close, with Robin van Persie needing to score a 94th minute equaliser to prevent that from happening in 2014. Let's go through the championship table, and I can find you 13 clubs who've had victorious nights against Manchester United since, whether that was through 90-minute wins or penalty shootout wins. But lads, West Brom, Sunderland, Burnley, Sheffield United, Watford, Middlesbrough, Swansea, Norwich, Hull, Derby County, Bristol City, Cardiff and Stoke have beaten Manchester United since Fergie left, and so very nearly Coventry too. There's clubs in the 3rd and 4th tiers of English football who've known what it feels to beat Manchester United inside the last 10 years, and Man United needed a penalty shootout at home to beat a team who are currently in the 5th tier, Little Rochdale, who are now in the conference. They were penalties away from experiencing a win at Old Trafford too. What are we doing here? I'm not shocked to see Manchester United get beaten by Spurs again. I mean, 10 years ago, Manchester United conceded 5 at Leicester City to sit 12th in the league after 5 games, having finished 7th the season before. That was supposed to be their rock bottom moment, right? Yeah, imagine being told that in 10 years time, they would be 12th in the league after 6 games, having finished 8th the season before. And both times, times there were former Ajax managers at the wheel. Nothing has changed here. Nothing has been fixed. I mean, Van Gaal had brought Ajax to 2 Champions League finals. Ten Hag was minutes away from bringing Ajax to 1-2. One of these guys had his job saved by an FA Cup final win. The other one was sacked in spite of that. Getting rid of Louis van Gaal in 2016 was the right decision. Let him bow out on a high after that FA Cup final win. Everybody walks away happy. But keeping Ten Hag around, it's like failing to accept that your dog is dead. And so you continue to bring him on walks around the park, whilst horrified mums shield their children from looking at the weirdo nutcase dragging his dead spaniel through a bush. Ten Hag should have been put out of his misery in May. Let the final memories of him be lifting the cup on that joyous afternoon where he actually overcame Pep Guardiola in the cup final. That is something to tell the grandkids. Although looking at his emotionless face, I would imagine he doesn't even have it in him to kiss a human woman without immediately throwing up. But lads, that would have been a great way to bow out. His stock would have not been low. That is how most football chairmen would remember him. And yeah, he could have probably picked up a decent job at Borussia Dortmund in the summer. But now, once he tumbles to a gruesome sack before Christmas, it'll just be Olympiacos or Lyon if he's very lucky. Ten Hag is not a bad manager. People are trying to rewind history and pretend that he is. He's not. Manchester United have only ever had one truly bad manager in my lifetime. And that was when they just clutched to nostalgia by giving Ollie the job. But football management is all about timing. With Moyes, I think if he had become Manchester City boss in 2009 instead of Mancini, which was very realistic at the time, by the way, before he then chose to ruin his chances by calling the club disgusting for their pursuit of Julian Lescott, yeah, that would have cancelled his name off the shortlist. But if he had gone to the Etihad, I don't think Moyes would have won the Premier League title, but I think he would have squeaked their star-studded squad to second in the league. It would have been a title battle between 2 Scottish managers. I mean, come on, the reason he failed at Old Trafford was because he was replacing a legend. But at the Etihad, he'd just been replacing Mark Hughes. It's fine. He would have been a seamless fit. I reckon he'd have been a successful Champions League manager and would have done such a good job. And maybe he would have won the Premier League title, who knows? But he would have done such a good job that I reckon he'd probably have gone on to nick a glamorous job overseas like PSG or Inter Milan. And if instead of going to Manchester United in 2014, if Van Gaal had waited to become Chelsea interim boss in 2015, he could have been their Avram Grant and gone on to reach a Champions League final in his 7-month stint. I mean, if there's one thing that man knows how to do, it's reaching Champions League finals. And if Mourinho had gone to Bayern Munich instead of Manchester United, he would have hoovered up 4 Bundesligas in a row and probably a Champions League, and would not now be banished to some Turkish caravan park. Football management is all about timing, and if Ten Hag had taken up another job after Ajax, like AC Milan, instead of Manchester United, he would still be held up as a golden goose of a coach. The rod at Manchester United extends far deeper than just being Erik Ten Hag's fault. But lads, the media have now absolutely pounced on Ten Hag. The man has a huge target on his face, and rightfully so, because he can't cope with the job. But lads, why now the media are even trying to paint an image of Ruud van Nistelrooy as being some evil spy? Price of Talksport have managed to wheel out Martin Keown in front of a camera to accuse the legendary Dutch striker of conspiring against Ten Hag, saying that he's only there to sit on the bench, not to offer any help to the boss. Oh no, he's just patiently sitting there, waiting to nick his job.
I'm looking at Van Nistelrooy, he said on Talksport. Is he giving everything to his manager? The manager looks very lonely on the sideline. Is Van Nistelrooy waiting to take over? Because it looks as if there's going to be change taking place there.
The media aren't even trying to be subtle about this anymore. If you're going to pick any pundit in the world to give an objective statement about Ruud van Nistelrooy's character, do not pick the one who back in 2003 literally screamed in the Dutchman's face like a wild monkey after he missed a penalty. Keown said that Ten Hag was very lonely on the sideline. Look how lonely Van Nistelrooy looks in this pic, with Keown jumping all over him like a rabid hyena. The media have tried to pit Van Nistelrooy against Ten Hag, because don't forget, this is a Manchester United legend, yes, a much better striker than Solskjaer, by the way, and he's also been a successful manager as well, having won a KNVB Cup and a Cruyff Shield in his one and only season at PSV Eindhoven. A really successful season where they scored 22 goals in their first 4 league games, and he actually managed to outwit Mikel Arteta by beating his Arsenal team in the Europa League, and they nearly masterminded the impossible second leg comeback after being 3-0 down to Sevilla in the last 32. As Sevilla, who owned the Europa League. Van Nistelrooy was able to get the best out of the likes of Jared Branthwaite, Ibrahim Sangare, Xavi Simons, Noni Madueke, Cody Gakpo, and Johan Bakayoko in what was a sizzlingly talented dressing room. I mean, lads, they even had Man City Savinho on the books, but the squad was so jam-packed with ballers that even he couldn't get in the team. He wasn't given a single start and spent most of the season in the PSV reserves, but that was an exciting PSV team for sure. But after having both Madueke and Gakpo ripped away and sold halfway through the season, yeah, this promising young coach resigned in frustration. And so yeah, it's obvious. His managerial career is simply on pause. Price above last summer, he nearly replaced Vincent Kompany as Burnley boss, which would have been a lot more exciting an appointment than just settling for moldy old Scott Parker, someone who is simply the second coming of Neil Warnock. But to question Van Nistelrooy's character, to think he is some evil spy, what, do you reckon he's whispering in Ten Hag's ear, trying to poison his brain? What, is his name actually Rude Worm Tongue? Is he secretly telling Ten Hag to feed his players chicken nuggets before the match? Is he advising him to stick Tom Heaton up front? No. Look, Van Nistelrooy is a better manager than Solskjaer, and is probably the best former Manchester United player who is now a manager. If you were going to appoint a Man United player to be a manager, it's going to be Rude. Narrowly edging out Al Ittihad Laurent Blanc, who must surely be an expired egg sandwich by now. So yes, if you were to sack Ten Hag now, then Van Nistelrooy is the obvious interim, before then moving for someone like Simone Inzaghi or Julian Nagelsmann in the summer. But lads, things are so grim in Manchester United right now that everyone is picking on the club to such an extent that the Daily Mail are literally printing articles about Twitter users squealing over Wayne Rooney's health.
Wayne Rooney sparks concern for his health as he's pictured looking really bad while watching Man United's loss to Tottenham at Old Trafford.
He looks fine. I don't care if Rooney does eat chicken wings in the shower. I don't care if he devours an entire box of Cocoa Pops before work. He is a 38-year-old adult man. If he wants to eat his entire weight of gummy bears, let him. It's almost like the media are just purposely trying to wind up Man United fans. Even last week, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was asked a routine question at a Norwegian Q&A if he would want his Man United job back. How is that a question? This is a man whose managerial CV reads Mould, Cardiff City, Mould again, and Manchester United. He's been out of work 3 years, and the only club side who were interested in offering him a job was Besiktas. Yeah, he'd have gone from working with Cristiano Ronaldo on a daily basis to now coaching Joe Worrell and desperately trying to keep Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain out of the biscuit tin. This is a man who's recently offered the chance to become the Norwegian Phil Neville, with his country's women's team asking him to manage them. At least with Neville, he'd only been a failed Manchester United assistant, someone who used to butter Moisey his toast. But Ollie, he was the full Manchester United #1, and here he was told to take a job where his entire hopes could be destroyed by a pregnancy. But all the guy said was that
it feels wrong to talk about other jobs that other players have now, but I would say yes, of course.
And just like that,
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tells Man United he wants his job back amid Erik Ten Hag pressure.
Yeah, lazy. You're just trying to freak out the Manchester United fans by threatening the return of Ollie. How unhelpful is that? It wasn't even the scariest thing Ollie said. No, he was asked who should replace Ten Hag, and he didn't say himself. Oh no, he recommended Michael Carrick of Middlesbrough. The day this European giant plucks a manager out of the actual championship, it would be like seeing an A-list celebrity like Britney Spears choosing to brush her teeth with a spoon she found at the beach. It would be like seeing someone like Dr. Dre now flirting with homeless women under a bridge. Price above Carrick has already failed to beat Derby County, Portsmouth, Preston and Sunderland this season, and just lost a cup match 5-0 at home to Stoke. And that's who should be the next Manchester United boss? A wonderful player, yes, but let's be real. He has got the charisma of a shoe. Price above a year ago, he was on the verge of a Borough sack after beginning his first full season in charge with 2 points from the first 7 games. Manchester United boss? If that actually does happen, then I will break into a garden centre and eat all the daffodils. Lads, when we look at the biggest clubs in the world, Manchester United have only 2 rivals: Barcelona and Real Madrid. And yes, we have seen them stuck in ruts as well. Barcelona from the year 1999 to 2004, they were very poor. It was 5 years of misery, putting up limp point totals of 64, 63, 64, 56, and okay, then 72. I mean, look at some of the embarrassing rock bottom low points there. There was a 4-game losing streak in 1999, a 6-0 aggregate Copa del Rey semi-final defeat to Atletico Madrid, who were getting relegated that season. And there was that freakish week in 2004 where they drew 4-4 twice in a row against Villarreal and Zaragoza. There was also a 4-0 defeat to Racing Santander. They were knocked out of the Copa del Rey by village teams 2 seasons on the bounce. They finished 6th in the league, were slapped up 5-1 by Malaga. They were knocked out of the Europa League by Celtic, even when they had Ronaldinho in their team. And it was then Real Madrid's turn to experience a crisis dip between 2004 and 2010, exiting the Champions League in the last 16 6 seasons in a row. And don't forget in 2004 when they ended the season with 5 defeats in a row to go from 1st to 4th. By October 2004, the Galacticos had actually lost 9 of the previous 13 La Liga matches. Horrible. Awful. But these blips lasted 5-6 years. Not 10, not 11, not 12. This Manchester United collapse has been unprecedented. Barcelona and Real Madrid both dusted themselves down to go on and accumulate a combined 10 Champions Leagues after that. Does anyone have any faith in Man United to even lift one? This is all very, very sad. Anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Is it fair? Is it not? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.